This looks familiar. And I can't put my finger on why.
Is it a vampire? I brought you a snack.
Yes, mate.
I thought it was about time for me to come out and watch.
Tag team.
Slaying is kind of an alone thing.
But it's such a big part of your life.
Yeah, do you know what? This is a really bad idea. It's a really bad idea. But I do also kind of approve. Although, actually, that tells you a lot. The fact that she's out here and she's like, oh, I think we should, which baffles me a little bit because she knows how dangerous it can be. She's been in it before, right? She's seen it before. She knows how to, because there's an element of her coming here. It's weird. It's twofold, good and bad. Because there's an element, and it depends where you want to go with it, I suppose, of Joyce not valuing, not understanding the danger. Oh, Buffy, she just slays. It's not a big deal. It's not that do you know what I mean? You could look at it from that perspective. Or two, there is maybe perhaps an element of, no, I have seen and Buffy's good. Do you know what I mean? Maybe this is a moment where she's actually giving Buffy validation, right? A good thing. You know, look, all of this aside, I think it is just a mum looking to bond and get through to her daughter, right? This thing she doesn't understand that's been difficult for her, for both of them. And she's trying. I think that's, you know, that's at the heart of it.
Buffy, he's over here!
Okay, yeah, dangerous.
It's Mr. Sanderson from the bank.
Oh, you know him.
He's getting away!
Really helpful, Joyce, yeah. This is the same park that Drew was trying to kill the kid at. Oh yeah, there's two kids, right? Nicely done, mate. I'm good. I'm like a prophet. Why did I say it like that? What could it all mean? Nearly missed the bell, I'll be honest with you, mate. Whew.
Who could do something like this?
I'm so sorry that you had to see this, but I promise everything's gonna be okay.
Oh, it's funny how Buffy is mothering her. Again, in this world, she is mother.
But I'll take care of everything, I promise. Just try and calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. My mom can't even talk.
It is almost like she's the parent here. Oh.
Hey.
I'm not even going to talk about it.
Hi.
Hey, Amy.
Hey, guys.
Oh, it's very weird tone in it.
There, where you been?
Not with me. No, sir. Ask anyone.
Do you know what? It's been surprisingly nice to Xander.
Hear what?
A murder.
How's Cordelia doing?
Oh, it's so awful. I had bad dreams about it all night.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I've been having bad dreams about it all night. This is what your daughter goes through every day, and you can't sleep. This should give her such an insight into what her daughter is going through, has to deal with, and has had to get past. To be able to do what, you know, not even her job, a calling. Do you know what I mean? It's so huge. And I feel like Joyce isn't there yet. But again, maybe this is part of that process.
A cult, like witches.
Sorry, too much dairy.
Oh, I know you kids think that stuff's cool.
Milk?
Nice to see you.
What? You just turned up to school. That's weird.
Makes me grateful that my mom's not interested in my extracurricular activities.
Oh, bless you.
Are you embarrassed to be hanging out with your mother? I didn't hug you.
Do you ever? Sorry. So.
Well, Giles can always use help in the
I
library.
called everybody I know in town.
Okay, avoiding Giles still. Fair.
You called everybody that you know?
That's weird. Hey guys, you want to talk about these dead kids? Sorry, no, it is. It's a good, you know, look, I'm always talking about community. And at the end of the day, you know, she's just concerned. Fair play.
We like to keep the number of people that know about it kind of small.
Yeah. She's a newbie.
Sure, there won't be all that many people.
It's a crowd in it, yeah. I feel like I'm getting deja vu. It's weird.
Standing right in front of me right this second.
So this was the first time we saw her. That's crazy.
Oh, hi, Bunny.
What?
Oh, you cut off your hair.
It's been like that
Yeah, it's
the
just
whole
a
season.
sudden whim I had in August.
God.
Hello, Joyce.
I don't like her.
Oh, this is,
Oi, oi.
Joyce.
Mm.
What a turnout you have here.
Is that what you call in the bedroom?
It's not.
Sorry.
It's been a while.
Not since.
Say it.
There's a rumor going around, Mr. Giles.
Go on.
Rumor about us? About what?
About witches.
Oh god, and a witch is getting a bad name after this. This is what happens, Joyce. We don't keep the circle small.
Recently co-authored a paper about the rise of mysticism among adolescents.
Oh.
Shocked at the statistical...
So she's kind of in this world, but she doesn't realise it. Oh, the mayor! The mayor!
Hello, everybody.
He'll do something about this, you'll see.
I swore to God that I'd never seen him before. Like a few episodes whenever he came into this. What? Just bloop, talk about Men in Black, do you know what I mean?
Had our share of misfortunes.
Hey mate, get ready. I feel like we've got a Miss 5 tune on our hands.
Joyce Summers.
Uh-oh. He's making waves, he's making connections to Buffy's mum. She's on the radar.
You're dead wrong.
Oh.
How many of us have lost someone who just disappeared?
You know, this is the thing. I mean, Joyce, this instinct channeled properly can be really good. Could be really good. Because I mean, Joyce in the know can be Slayer 2.0, can complement, can become part of the Scoobies, can have this community outreach that actually you don't necessarily have to be telling people about what's going on, but you can work this angle around the community to make sure people are safer. She can do the Slayer's work while not being the Slayer. She can act as an appendage onto Buffy's Slayer, is what I'm saying. A partnership, you know. I think that this is possibly a seed to be sown later in the show. Or even this season probably, maybe, if they want to go that way. Of like, yeah, Joyce can actually widen the purview, you know, the goals of the Slayer, making Sunnydale safer from all of these monsters in the Hellmouth in a different way. Additionally, as well, do you know what I mean? Which could be really healthy.
Or suffered neck rupture.
But she's right.
I was supposed to lead us in a moment of silence, but
Couldn't resist, could you?
silence is this town's disease.
Hello, yeah. Should all learn from that.
Natural evils. This isn't our town. It belongs to the monsters and the witches and the slayers.
Wait, she's just coming out with it?
What? Time for the grown-ups to take Sunnydale back.
We all just, I mean, did that just go over their heads? Because she just told them. Like everybody. That's wild. She's known for 5 seconds. This is the problem. She's not actually working with Buffy. She's gone out on her own, is assuming a lot. Again, it's this trait of not talking to Buffy. Buffy, like I say, is the authority in this world, essentially. Like, you know, the one in charge, the first and last defense. Yeah, absolutely, you've got Giles and the Scoobies there helping her, but Buffy is that. Not talking to her. She's the authority on this world. Mother. Yes, I'm carrying on with it. And Joyce should have gone and had a conversation, taking power, taking secrets, and just flinging them about. Do you know what I mean? Not really consulting or doing it in a way that is responsible. There's potential for that, though. I think that's where this possibly is where that could start. But it speaks to a deeper issue in Joyce and Buffy's relationship. The deeper issue in Joyce and Buffy's relationship. Sorry, was that convincing? What a twist! Oh, too much. Sorry. Yeah, fair enough.
Gonna put a spell on me?
Oi.
I heard about those kids. People.
Hey, Cuddy. How you doing?
And what about people like me?
Get in my face and you'll find out.
Do people just know now?
No problem here. We're walking.
So, sorry. I feel like I've missed an episode.
Because that's what you get when you hang with freaks and losers.
Uh-huh.
That was a pointed comment about me hanging with you guys.
I get it, yeah.
Besides, witches didn't do it.
Actually, I think they may have. Keeps bringing me back to European Wiccan covens.
So, sorry, people just know... I know that Joyce came out with it, but I feel like there wasn't context or additional, like, explanation. People would just know about witches. Because that just came out. That kind of comes out of nowhere. Done it, really. Sorry, I just need to wrap my head around it, I suppose. It just seemed quick.
Hey, is Willow around?
How can I convince you people that it's over? That I somehow mysteriously know where she is?
Those her books?
Yeah, she's in the bathroom. I'm getting sick of the judgment.
No one's judging you, mate. I feel like it's in your head.
Is a man not innocent until proven guilty?
You are guilty.
That steely gaze, that pointed silence.
Because he's usually such a chatterbox.
Yeah, that's just Oz.
More a verbal, non-verbal.
Honestly, he's being quite nice about it, considering.
You want to give me those, please? The books?
Why have I got like a shiver coming? Oh god, there it is.
Hannah Bain, Hellebore, Manfrey Group.
Maybe people aren't aware that witches actually can do magic. Maybe it's just a thing. I mean, we have witches in this world, right? It doesn't have to be, so it might just be that. That's fair.
That hairspray costs $45 and it's imported.
You were scammed, mate. Oh, God.
Confiscating my books.
Rude.
Believe me, I've tried to tell that to the nice man with a big gun.
America!
Ordinarily, I would say let's widen our research.
Using what? A dictionary and my friend Flicka?
Who?
Snyder has interfered before, but I won't take this from that twisted little homunculus.
Smell of desperate librarian in the morning.
Sorry. I think it's just when he comes on screen, do you know what I mean?
Lift a finger against me and you'll have to answer to Moo.
Oh?
Answer to Moo?
Oh?
Did that sentence just make some sense that I'm not in on?
Mother is opposed to the occult.
Oh, yeah. What a bunch of cows. Sorry. No, that was actually, I was honestly fixating on the moo. Yeah, anyway.
And who came up with that lame name?
Was it your mum?
That would be the founder. I believe you call her Mom.
Mother? I think you'll find that's Buffy.
Oh, well, identification with mythical icons is perfectly typical of your age group.
Really?
I understand.
No, you don't.
Mm-hmm. Yes, fight back.
I can do stuff. Nothing badder.
Like this.
Think you can. And that's what concerns me. The delusions.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fair enough. So sorry when they say, yes, so I was correct. When they're thinking witchcraft, they're not actually thinking literal magic. That makes more sense. Sorry, I was genuinely feeling like I've missed an episode. I know I haven't.
How would you know what I can do?
That's sad.
Last time we had a conversation over 3 minutes, it was about the patriarchal bias of the Mr. Rogers show.
Well, with King Friday lording it over all the lesser puppets. You're upset. I hear you.
No, Ma, hear this.
Go on.
I'm a rebel.
Okay.
A rebellion.
Honey, you don't need to act out like this.
This is not acting out, mate.
And I can summon the 4 elements. Okay, 2, but 4 soon.
Which ones?
Dating a musician.
Oh, Willow.
I worship Beelzebub.
Right.
Do you see any goats around? No, because I sacrificed
please.
them. Prince of Night, I summon you.
You should not say stuff like that.
With your black, naughty evil.
I don't want you hanging out with those friends of yours.
Buddy, you can't be doing that.
You will not speak to Bunny Summers again.
Cool, I will never see Bunny Summers again. It's an easy out, mate.
You're the one who ordered the raid on the school today.
Honey, they opened a few lockers.
Yeah, like I said, this instinct channeled healthily can be really good, but right now it's the opposite. There's room for this, there's space for this, for Joyce doing something. And I think that might help her as well, because she's struggling with this Slayer thing. You know, she still wants to be a mother, and there should still be room in this world, in this relationship. Slayer though Buffy may be, for Joyce to be a mother within all that. There's room for that, there's space for that, but it needs to be done not by ripping the authority, the autonomy from Buffy, but collaborating. That's the issue. That's the reason this isn't working right now. Because like I say, I think it would be healthy for this, for Joyce as well. I mean, you know, look, I've constantly kind of come at this from Buffy's perspective, because hard not to, right? I mean, yeah, I'm watching it and Buffy is the protagonist, you know, she is who I am closest with. So obviously, I often see this relationship through that lens. But also, you know, looking at... The relationship goes both ways. Joyce is a mother, and speak, and I have about her all day, how she has parented, and whether that's good or bad or mistakes she's made, whatever, it doesn't matter. But from this present and going forward, it's unfair to say that she can't be in any kind of position to help her daughter in this supernatural world. She knows about it now. There should be space for that. There should be space made for that, but it needs to be safe. It needs to be warranted. It needs to go through Giles and Buffy mainly. But I think Joyce is deserving of that too, just not in this way.
Moo just wants to weed out the offensive material. Everything.
You can't do that.
If we're gonna solve this, we need those books now.
Because what, again, it's this, what's your definition of offensive material? This is a very real thing that happens, right? People decide what isn't okay, or what is or isn't influencing people in schools. And it's like, once you start drawing those lines, all you're doing is prohibiting knowledge, and we can't do that. That's where things really start to get dangerous, and is an avenue, a pathway for bigotry, which breeds hate and creates a lack of knowledge, which only creates danger going forward for people.
Any student can waltz in there and get all sorts of ideas. Do you understand how that terrifies me?
I do.
I know that you're just trying to help, but you have to let me handle this. It's what I do.
Yeah.
But is it really?
Yes.
You slay, evil pops up, you undo it, and that's great.
Go on.
Is Sunnydale getting any better?
Well, it's interesting how the wish really shows us, and it's interesting the organization of the episodes, because that question, this here, has been arranged so that we actually definitively know that Buffy is making a difference. We know that. It's undeniable. It's unfortunate, isn't it, I suppose, that, I mean, Buffy doesn't have that to draw on, to be like, look. We know, though. We do know.
Evil pops up, you undo it.
We know here that Joyce is wrong.
You don't have a plan. You just react to things. It's bound to be kind of fruitless.
I mean, it's not fruitless, obviously, but also that's so dangerous. You react to things. You don't do anything actively, and it's like, whoa. Again, I'm thinking more from the allegory perspective, because again, you know, as much as I'm talking about taking knowledge out of schools, taking books out of schools, I am kind of talking more about our world. But I mean, I can understand from these guys' perspective how they're taking out this essentially public knowledge in Giles's library of like blood packs or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can kind of get that. It's like, why is that in a school? So I am kind of referring more to the allegory of it. In the same way that I'd be more referring to the allegory of what Joyce is talking about here. It's like once you start preemptively moving, it's like you start to judge people before they've even done anything. You can't do that. That's dangerous. It's such a dangerous precedent to set.
It's bound to be kind of fruitless.
And I mean, that's, I think, the crux of the issue is that as well, the Hellmouth, it's never going to go away. Or at least vampires, creatures, they're probably never going away. You can never ultimately fix it. All you can do is react. All you can do is make sure that the worst doesn't happen. All you can do is make sure the wish doesn't happen, that reality doesn't happen. Because that was bad, really bad, to the point that, you know, vampires took over at least this small part of the world. And who's to say that isn't, well, I mean, you know, we saw at the end of that reality, Buffy died. The Master would have won, maybe it would have spread, and that would have become the world, the country, the world, you know, and gone from there. Ultimately, can you possibly destroy every creature of the night, monster, vampire, whatever it might be? Maybe part of our world is that they are here and exist, and you can never truly get rid of them. But that's what I mean, is that's not really the point. The point isn't to do that, because you can't. The best you can possibly hope for is this reality that we have of a Slayer that is here to help and to make sure that it doesn't get out of hand, and that most people can go about their lives and the world doesn't get taken over by vampires. And that's enough. Again, this is information, I suppose, that we as the audience have, but Joyce and even Buffy and the gang don't really definitively have, right? I mean, we've seen it. Because, I mean, the Wish was such a good episode for that, such an important episode in a lot of ways, but for that especially, and to show how actually important, as much as you might disagree with the idea of the Slayer, right, and this, how unfair it is, after the Wish, you can't really deny, though, that you need one. Someone has to do it.
Plan, Lord knows I don't have lapel buttons.
Buffy.
Yeah, that expression on Joyce was so perfect, that on her face. She thinks she understands, but she doesn't. And there's such danger in that. Again, it comes back to this thing in, you know, the real world of people trying to prohibit knowledge, prohibit books because they think it's dangerous or impacting their kids. And it's like, sometimes you need to have read about these things to experience something in a safe way, in a safe environment where you have a teacher, someone there if you want to ask questions and to have that conversation with. Because the only alternative is that you're going to be unprepared for it if it ever happens, whatever it might be happens to you in the real world, and then suddenly it's so much more intensely shocking, right? I think a prevalent talking point today in regard to this is this right-wing sentiment that trans people, for example, are trying to turn your kids trans. They're coming for the kids, right? And I think a lot of people who aren't engaged with this stuff hear that and go, oh, that's not good. It turns them against trans people, because it's this narrative that has taken something and blown it so out of proportion to be so unrelated to what's actually happening. All that is happening is that people are suggesting, rightly so, that teachers should be allowed to educate kids on trans folk and what that is and what that means, right? To be able to understand it and have a conversation about gender. But parents who don't understand but think they do, think they know, perceive that as teachers trying to turn their kids trans, which isn't what's happening at all. That's not what that equates to. It's not what education and telling someone, informing kids, giving kids knowledge translates to. Because I mean, that isolated example is really important, because I think, you know, whether it comes down to identity, whether it comes down as well to orientation, obviously those two things are different. I think sometimes it's easy to forget that every one of us adults has at one point been a kid. Every trans person, every gay person was a kid. And something like that, which is actually actionable education, in the sense that because there are trans kids, there are going to be. Trans people exist, they always have, and they always will. The choice is to either give them the knowledge or keep that from them. And if you don't give them that knowledge, they are going to go through life not understanding why they don't fit in. No cis kid is ever going to be turned trans because of that knowledge. It's only ever going to impact those that it relates to. And it's only ever going to help them. Because when you have a word, when you have that knowledge, it can allow you to understand it, understand yourself, and start to navigate your way through life as you are growing older in a way that affords you a path to happiness. Without that knowledge, that path is restricted. You can't possibly see a path because you don't know. You just think you're odd or strange or don't fit in or you're not the same as everyone else, which isn't okay. And that's all it equates to. That's all that knowledge equates to. That's an example of this kind of thing. And adults who don't understand something, whatever it might be, but think they do, it's so dangerous and it harms kids. That's what harms kids, you know. And like I say, it ends up going through this kind of funnel of misinformation, and it gets twisted. Something like that gets twisted into trans folk are trying to turn your kids trans. And it's like, no, that's so far from the truth. That's not what's happening at all. They've just been told about it. That's it. Nothing else is happening. No one's in danger because trans folk are always going to have been kids. Of course they are. That's where we all start, you know. And I've spoken to trans people who have said to me, if I'd have had that knowledge when I was earlier in life, when I was younger, it would have helped me. It would have made so much make sense, and I could have done things that actively would have made me happier. When you restrict knowledge, all you do is cast darkness, and people are left on their own to work it out for themselves, when we could have just offered them a beacon to light the path, like I say, to their own happiness. So sorry, I started talking about it, and I was like, that's a very vague thing to say, and I was like, okay, let's think of an example and go and talk about it a little bit. So forgive me for waxing it, and it's also something that really bugs me, really bugs me when I hear this kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I think it is a loud minority, but unfortunately, those who are less kind of ear to the ground, less geared into, you know, cultural issues or, you know, social topics or whatever it might be, hear something like the phrase that I said before of trans people are coming for our kids, and because they're uninformed about it, they just believe it. These narratives pass onto the ears of the uninformed, and the uninformed swell.
Maybe next time that the world is getting sucked into hell, I won't be able to stop it because the anti-hell sucking book isn't on the approved reading list.
Mm-hmm.
A nice acronym, Mom.
Just trying to make things better.
Yeah, but you're not, and you're not listening. And it's so important. It's so important for you to listen, because if your actual goal is to make things better, you need to be as informed as possible. And she's rejecting, you know, that Buffy's trying to tell her, trying to give her the knowledge, trying to inform her. And all Joyce is doing, she's walled off, she's blocked off, she thinks she knows. So she's like, okay. And it's like, you can't do that. If you're arraying yourself into a position of power, you need to be as informed and hear as many perspectives as possible and take them seriously and identify within all of that what the best path is to the goal that you want to actually make things better. You can't just have an empty promise of, I just want to make things better. It's like, okay, cool. Lay the groundwork for that then. It's lazy and it's a half measure. That look and that turn away sums it up. She's so confident in her ignorance.
Not until you hurt them.
The way they hurt us.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting because Joyce is being fueled by this, I'm doing it for the kids. And it's like, no, you're not. You're hurting the kids. Again, speaking allegorically, because I appreciate that, you know, there's obviously the supernatural element to this. This isn't necessarily Joyce, right? But this is what the show does all the time, is it uses the supernatural as a funnel for the allegorical.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Nice.
I think I'm better than you right now.
I mean, actual friendship can come from this now, from last episode.
People die in Sunnydale all the time. I've never seen anything like this.
They were children, innocent. It makes a difference.
I don't think it does, you know, by the way. Sorry, maybe a hot take, but you get this thing, don't you, all the time of like, oh, the children. It's like, yeah, absolutely. But sorry, everyone. I don't know, like, yeah, this emphasis on the kids, and yeah, I get it. Like, they're at the beginning of their life, and they should have. It's monstrous. It's not, you know, that's not me. It's not me advocating that it's fine. Obviously not. It's still as bad as we're all aware of. But I just feel like it's not more bad than if anyone else dies. They still had, like, you're no less valuable just because you grew a little older. You know, even if you're 80, you still have knowledge to impart. You are still such a valued member of, or should be, of society. Like, children are important, and they're nurturing, and they're, you know, our guardianship of them especially as well. You know, they are the future. At the same time, I think our present is important too. And in order to, like I say, make sure that those children strive for a better future, move towards a better future, it's this idea of knowledge. We need to give it to them, impart that to them. And who can do that best? Older people. Tends to be. Not necessarily. You'll get, you know, obviously older people who are, we've got examples of that in this episode too, uninformed and doing harm. But at the same time, the level of nurturing, good nurturing that I think you need comes from adults. I don't know. As I've got older, I'm not trying to devalue the death of children. I'm just trying to apply that value to everybody else. Just to stress the reason that I dug my heels in here, it's because as I've grown older, I've become more aware of how, as adults, we do often devalue ourselves, our mental health, and this sort of thing, I think, seeps into society in a negative way. It's impacting, even if you think it isn't, manifests itself in a way that means we condition adults to think that harmful situations are normal. It makes the effort to take ourselves out of that situation very difficult. We see this sort of thing today as younger, more progressive generations, more in tune with their emotions, encounter environments that the more emotionally repressed generations, shrugged off, thinking that they were fine. They weren't. Today, this manifests itself in a lot of people remarking that younger generations are soft, when actually all that's happening is those more equipped to notice when things are harmful express that these systems and ways we do things are harmful. This societal sentiment of devaluing adults isn't healthy for us and promotes these generational conflicts that prevent change for the better for all.
About being the slayer, that it's fruitless.
She's wrong.
Is she?
Yeah.
I'm setting down any better than when I first came here, but I don't really win.
You win every day.
I do know it's important to keep fighting. I learned that from you.
It's so interesting, the new dynamic that's been struck. Because yeah, was it last episode, Amends? The new relationship, the new dynamic that seems to be struck between these two, actual friendship, and I feel like it took him being in such a desperate place as he was and her bringing him out of that and actually putting everything, not just her putting everything on the table, but him kind of putting everything on the table and then batting that out and just getting it out there. Maybe it was almost a moment of release, getting it all out. And like I say, being in such a desperate position that he kind of stripped himself of everything. It was the very meaning of his life and his good or bad or how he valued himself, and he stripped all that down to the point that he wanted to go. And it's like, it's almost as if something so, it's not petty, but something so, compared with that, something so small as this dilemma of them two and their relationship and that love, I think perhaps just maybe reduced in influence on him, next to the existential dread of his own existence, what that might mean, where it might go, and being driven to such despair. I think the stripping of all that and the building back up perhaps has allowed something actually perhaps platonic, healthy to arise here, which I quite like. And again, such an important episode for him and them, amends.
But we never
win. Never will. That's not why we fight.
It's also, sorry, it's a very pawsy episode, I'm so sorry, which is surprising. It kind of almost, like what they're talking about here in this fight of Slayer versus the supernatural world. Blow it up, and what is it? What is the allegory for that? It's humanity, human nature. It's easy to get caught up in things a lot of the time, but ultimately there'll probably always be good people and bad people. There's an angle you can look at that is quite defeatist, of like, well, we can never win. They'll always be there. But that's not the point. It's like, if good people aren't there to fight the bad, to combat the bad, then the bad wins. And no, maybe you can't win and beat them completely, but it's no less important to fight it. Because otherwise, if the bad reigns and the bad people win, we lose everything.
Who said you could interrupt, you stupid, useless fad? And I'll say it again.
And if no one knows who they are, where did these pictures come from?
Just assume someone had the details. They never really. That is strange.
It's funny, isn't it? That sort of thing. It is a lot of what I think the uninformed, the ignorant, the bigoted do rely on. It's that grand sweeping statements that are empty, don't mean anything, don't contain any details or facts or information. It's just working on a feeling, which is exactly what Joyce is doing. It's that feeling of those kids and what happened to them, and she's letting that drive them, and they've looked over these details, these facts that are very important, and I don't know why I know that, because I've never seen this episode before. But like I say, something allegorically so uninformed like trans people are coming for our kids taps into a lot of emotion. That statement is packed with emotion and feeling, but is devoid of any fact, detail, knowledge. And aren't those things more important sometimes? It's wild sometimes how these episodes do like really effectively apply themselves still to the present day or present day issues.
It seems I've been rather close-minded.
Nice.
You believe me?
I believe you, dear.
Mm-hmm.
Now all I can do is let you go with love.
Let me go? What does that mean?
What a bomb to drop and just leaves, nothing else.
Mom?
Goddamn.
Fairy tales are real.
Hans and
Yep.
They feed us our darkest fear and turn peaceful communities into vigilantes.
Hey, it's effective.
So what do we do?
I don't know about you, but I'm gonna go trade my cow in for some beans.
Oh, no, come on.
I was attacked!
Well, you know, it's interesting. I talk about trans folk and everything going on today. It is basically what happened to gay people. It's the exact same thing happening again, and this kid here. Not obviously saying that they're gay, but I think, you know, presenting in a way that is quite often associated, especially back then, you know, wearing makeup, eyeliner, whatever, is certainly associated with that. And, you know, bigotry and hate, and then leads to violence, right? And the parents coming in and saying what they're saying and doing what they're doing.
Talk. Need to go.
Okay.
Look, there's more to this than we...
Oh my god. Genuinely forgot.
This is crazy, Mom. Wake.
Dude. My god. Do not add to this man's head trauma.
My hand hurts.
How many times, dude?
And then my mom confiscates all of my black clothes and scented candles. Came over here to tell Buffy to stop this craziness and found you all unconscious. Again. How many times have you been knocked out, anyway?
Yeah.
I swear, one of these times, you're gonna wake up in a coma.
That's not...
Nick, never
Yeah.
mind. We need to save Buffy from Hansel and Gretel.
What a sentence. Oi, oi.
We're here to join you guys. No, really, why should you guys have all the fun?
You missed out on the badges, Lance.
Just so we're clear, you guys know you're nuts, right?
Mom, you don't want this.
Since when does it matter what I want? I wanted a normal, happy daughter. Instead, I got a slayer.
Oh, it's definitely a gay allegory, isn't it?
George. Thanks.
My god.
This has been so trying. You've been such a champ. We should stay close, have lunch.
Oh, I'd like that. How nice.
Dear Lord. Yeah, this picture, this idea of civility while they're perpetrating horrible things to their kids.
You want to fry a witch? I'll give you a witch.
Go on, mate.
Goddess Hecate, work thy will. Before thee let the unclean thing fall.
My god.
She couldn't do us first.
Drop a toadstone into the mixture.
It doesn't look like a toad.
No reason it should. It's from inside the toad.
Beautiful.
I hate you.
Mate, more Cordelia and Giles together, do you know what I mean?
You earned this. You
Yikes.
toyed with unnatural forces.
Mm-hmm.
Mother would I be if I didn't punish you?
It's wild that some people think that way, innit?
God, you really were the little youthful offender, weren't you? Let's look back on that and cringe.
Nah, we love him for it, mate. Literal book burning. Oh, hi. Creepy twins.
Hecate ruft euch an.
Indeed. I tell you what, you can't often say you killed Hansel and Gretel, eh? Oh, hi. Yeah.
I think I like the two little ones more than the one big one.
Do you know what? I disagree.
Protect us! Kill the bad girls!
Not as convincing in that outfit.
Damn. Yes!
Did I get it? Did I get it?
Yeah, mate, I think you did, actually.
We're here to save you.
That's so dumb. I love it.
She's doing that selective memory thing your mom used to be so good at.
Yeah.
She remembered the part where I said I was dating a musician. Oz has to come for dinner next week.
Nice. All right. Damn.
Maybe we should get her one of those wheel thingies.
Huh? What? Well, there we have it. Gingerbread indeed. Yeah, hey, let me end on this. To anyone, really, but I think to minorities who go through this sort of thing, I'm so sorry. It's not fair. You shouldn't have to. To anyone out there that has any kind of feeling or whatever it might be that leads to bigotry and hate for any person because of something related to their identity, pause, stop, listen. I think so often people, and I've talked about social conditioning before, right? It's quite often where this sort of thing can come from. It's powerful. It gets in you to the point that you stop listening and you think you know because it's just how it's always been, right? And you get this idea of what is normal and anything outside of that isn't. And that's not the world. That's not how it works, or at least it shouldn't be. You get all this talk nowadays of wokeness, of DEI, TV, films, whatever it might be, and this idea that people of color, gay people, trans people, women lead or are part of whatever creative endeavor, creative project it is, and it becomes, in the eyes of the loud, ignorant minority, propaganda, shoving it down our throats. And it's like, no one's shoving anything down your throat. No one has an agenda. It is simply that these people exist in our world and they should be reflected in our lives and media because they are here. They always have been. We have societies, communities, cities, countries that are so diverse that it's insane that we don't have that level of representation in our media. For years, for decades, we have, I grew up on them. I grew up on kids' films that had kisses in them, right? You have a Disney prince and a princess and they're white and they're one man, one woman. Why is that not propaganda? Why is that not shoving straightness down my throat? It's not. Because that, to the ignorant, is normal. And anything outside of that becomes abnormal, not normal, when actually you perhaps just hadn't had cause to have that world opened up to you. I'm talking there more so about orientation as opposed to person of color, right? Because the idea that you've never seen a black person is insane. And so to anybody who has heard this and peddles this idea. And to anyone who thinks I'm getting political, this isn't politics. This isn't politics at all. People's identity and people's orientation are not politics. They are not for debate. They are valid. We are not, and we will never have any conversation about whether they exist or not, or whether they should be allowed to exist or not, because they do. And yes, they should. It's not politics. That's ignorance, and you need to stop that. And so if anyone has these thoughts, or, you look at Hollywood and you think it's gone woke and it's got bad, it's like, no. We could have a larger conversation about that because it is a conversation unto itself, but it is not diversity, inclusion, representation that is killing modern media. It's not. There's no forced representation. Those people exist and they should be in our media. A black gay person leading a movie is not a message, is not a societal propagandist message. It is just an accurate representation of our society. Anyway, for anyone that thinks that, pause, stop, think, listen. And to those who are victims of it, I'm sorry. You are loved, and I'm passing as much warmth and support as I possibly can. Anyway, this was weird. I feel like I've seen this episode before. Links in the description if you'd like to support me further. I've got early access to all my videos, blah, 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 blah. Thank you so much for those who support me. Genuinely, just thank you for your support. More Buffy coming soon. Please do consider watching either of these videos right here to keep the hype train rolling. But that's it from me. Much love. Hope you're well. And I'll see you soon.